This is Made for More Living with Johnny Jennings, powered by eXp Realty. Online at madeformoreliving.com.
So today on the show, we have an incredible guest. She's going to be talking about a topic that is just absolutely riveting and that people cannot wait to talk about. Like, this is hotter than AI. It's hotter than stocks, bonds, tariffs.
I'm not sure if you're being sarcastic or you're being genuine.
We are going to be talking about credit repair.
Nice.
Who doesn't want to talk about credit repair?
That's right.
No, but on the show today,
everybody has credit, right? Whether it's good, bad, or ugly.
Good, bad, ugly, or no credit. You're somewhere on the spectrum. Right. And so with us today is Sarah Perkins with Blue Water Credit. Thank you for being on the show, Sarah.
Yes, thank you for having me.
I love that name, Blue Water Credit. It's just so peaceful.
It's very calming.
Because obviously, especially if you have bad credit, it's a very anxious, fearful, worried, stressful time on somebody. It's just this load that they carry, and it's constantly on their mind every day.
And it impacts their lives. Like, can I get a car? Can I rent? Can I buy a house?
Right.
Job. Can I get a job? Right. And so it is definitely a heavy load.
Yeah. And so for you to come along with Blue Water Credit, it's just so peaceful.
Hey, Jeff's a marketing genius.
If you like.
No. But what I want to talk about too is like, what's your, I've always thought, why do we need a credit repair company? Because it does cost for your services. We'll get into that later. But what's really the benefit? Why don't I just pay down my credit cards and move towards building a stronger credit that way? Like, why would I want to hire a Blue Water Credit? Because there's also a lot of charlatans out there. Like, I've heard horror stories. So, Sarah, what's your take on that?
So my take is, knowing how a credit score is made up, it's very complicated. So it's more than just paying down your credit cards. There's factors like your payment history, having a good mix of credit, applying for new credit, the length of time that you've had your cards open. And then there's so many different scoring models out there. So first, it's very complicated.
Okay.
And so
it's not as simple as I think it is.
No. So one of the biggest factors is credit utilization. So that is your balances compared to your limit. So obviously, if you can pay those down, that's going to have a positive impact, but that's only going to get you to a certain point. So then you have Blue Water Credit that deals with payment history errors, or just even bad payment history if you missed a payment, late payment, charge-off collections. And then we work with the credit bureaus, dispute those items, and then in attempts to get them removed permanently. And that is the biggest factor in a credit score, your payment history. So any time that we can get any of those items permanently removed, that's definitely going to positively impact your score.
Okay, so on my end, I'm working on making sure my cards are paid, like making sure my bills are paid regularly, maybe paying them down strategically.
Correct.
But then on the Blue Water side, you're also helping build that or rebuild that credit history, the payment.
Correct. So our program is obviously built on people that do have some negative payment history. So if you haven't missed a credit card payment, you're probably not someone that's for our program. So you're going to work with your credit coach on what accounts to pay off, what accounts maybe you need to open, getting a new installment loan. And then we are going to do the disputing of those negative items through methods online, faxing, phone call, using statute and law to get these things removed. Because there are people out there that will just throw I don't know what this account is, it's fraud. And when you open an investigation with the bureaus, they do have to remove that item and put it in a dispute status for 30 days. So it can falsely give someone a credit score that's not accurate, because then as soon as they determine that it's not fraud, then that item goes right back on. And so people are getting taken advantage of because they're thinking their credit goes up with these people that say fraud. And really it just goes back to where it was.
But that's not what you guys are doing. Like,
No.
that's just so we're clear, that is what 99% of the air quotes credit repair companies are doing.
Yes.
Is they're saying, hey, they're promising a quick fix.
Yes.
But they're actually costing you money and actually damaging you in the long run.
Correct.
You shared a story, I think, of a friend of yours that
Yes.
had gone through this process. Like, a friend of yours, she knows you,
Yes.
and yet she used somebody else.
Yes. And so what she did is she paid, first of all, a lot of money up front, which is illegal to do in credit repair. I'll go over the pricing and how we have to operate, and we have to perform a service before we can even collect any money. But she paid a lot of money up front. Granted, this gentleman made her credit look impeccable. It looked clean because he used the fraud tactic, and some of the things stuck and they didn't come back. But what she didn't realize is those accounts still had balances. They still were within the statute of limitation in California where she could get sued. And then she had a process server knock at her door a couple months later, and she's getting sued for this debt and now has 2 judgments against her. So on paper, she looks very pretty because her credit score is immaculate because these accounts are gone, but it doesn't absolve you of the debts if you still owe them is the thing. So we're upfront and honest with our clients. Hey, you're going to probably need to pay this one off, or it's going to come back onto your credit, or you can run into the problem of being sued and having a judgment against you.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds nice. Hey, just pay me some money and the problem goes away.
Yes.
But sometimes if it sounds too good to be true, it often is. So when somebody is interviewing credit repair companies,
Yes.
what should they be looking for? Like, what makes Blue Water different?
Okay. Yeah. So first and foremost, with credit repair, you need to be at least licensed with the DOJ. So you can go onto the DOJ's website and plug in that credit repair company's name or that person's name, make sure that they are actually licensed with them. And then you have to be bonded. And then there's rules and regulations that go along with the fees that we charge. So like I mentioned, you can't charge for anything up front unless a small enrollment fee to cover admin costs. And then it's like a monthly fee to cover the work that we've already performed. So we'll charge an upfront enrollment fee and then perform, a month's worth of disputes and then bill in arrears. And so there's regulations on how we can collect that money.
Got it. And so it just sounds like it's a highly regulated industry, but there's so many bad actors out there.
Yes.
Like why are there so many, why are there so many people behaving fraudulently if there's all these rules?
Well, I think it's because you get these just people out there on like TikTok and Instagram, and they're giving like the flashy advice like, hey, your debt was sold. They don't technically own the Bank of America debt. Don't pay it. Use my templated letter. And then they're just sending out these, PDF forms for people to send these things into the mail themselves. So they're technically kind of not doing the credit repair. They're doing like a do-it-yourself. So there's like this little gray area there, but there's so much bad information, and they're just going for the flashy quick fix. Like you said, people don't want to pay these things off, or maybe they just don't want to deal with looking at how much they owe and what they need to do. And the rebuilding process takes time, and our dispute process does take time. Not anything is an overnight fix, unfortunately.
That's a great point. So people are probably listening wondering, okay, how long does it take, like legitimately, to start rebuilding my credit? So the lowest home loan credit score I'm aware of, where you can get like a decent loan, is around 580. How long does it take to get somebody who has challenged credit up to where they can now start qualifying for a home?
Yeah. So every situation is obviously
I know, they're all
different.
Yeah. But you guys have served how many people? Like thousands, right?
Over 15,000. So we've been around since 2008, and we've served well over 15,000 clients. And but it is a process. So the dispute process in and of itself, we have to issue a dispute to the bureaus, and they have up to 30 to 45 days to respond to us. So some of it is making sure we're strategically doing the disputes and using statute and law that will, garner effective results where they'll get removed. And then if they don't get removed and they come back and say, no, this is valid, then we would maybe try a different dispute method. So we usually tell people you have to give it at least a minimum of probably like 45, 90 days doing like a round or two of disputes.
Okay.
And again, it depends on how many accounts we're trying to get removed. I've had clients that just have like a one-off collection from like Comcast that pops up. And sometimes we can do where we go straight into TransUnion, and then we have portal access, and we've gotten things removed overnight, but it's very, limited situations. But I usually tell people average 4 to 6 months that people are in our program. The industry average for everybody else is like 13 to 18 months.
Yikes.
Yeah.
And they're probably just stretching that process out, charging them fees.
Yes. So even though they might be lower monthly than us, their goal is probably to keep somebody in the program as long as possible. They might be just doing one account or one bureau at a time, where we are like throwing everything at everything, like every single account, every single bureau. We're trying every single tactic. And so our goal is to get you back to your lender as quickly as possible. I mean, a majority of our clients come from a referral from a loan officer or a real estate agent. So our goal, our goal is to get them back to you guys as quickly as possible, because we want to get them in a home loan. And not everybody's looking for the perfect credit score. If you tell me, hey, my client only needs a 580, we're going to do the work to where we get them to where we think they're at the 580, hand them back to you so you can get them in that loan. And if they want to keep going on with the program to further improve their credit to refinance later, great.
That's perfect. And that's a good point. Because not only if it takes 12, 13 months, are the fees starting to add up, but also think about if you're renting and you're wanting to live in a home, now how many thousands of dollars additional are you contributing towards rent? Home prices have been appreciating over the last 15 years or so. How much, if you were to buy a house in 6 months versus a year, how much money did you save on equity? Like all those costs they're not like hard, like in your bank account, like you can see the digits change costs, but they are things to consider when you're trying to pick the best financial option for your family.
Yeah, I mean, it's an investment, but usually it's an investment that pays off by having to pay less in fees, like upfront costs for buying your home because of your credit score or the interest rate that you get. So
the better the interest rate, the lower the monthly.
So usually you can make up that money pretty quickly, once you get secured in a home loan, the money that you would spend rebuilding your credit.
I love that, the investment aspect of it, because people are willing to invest in their health, they're willing to invest in a home, they're willing to invest in school, but how about in your financial health?
Yes.
So because it's part of your profile, it's part of who you are, just like the different characteristics of whatever your life is.
Unless you're Dave Ramsey, then you just don't have a credit score.
Well, that's right. I'm curious. Let's talk to her in the next segment about what her perspective is as far as Dave Ramsey saying we shouldn't take out any loans, we shouldn't have any credit whatsoever. I'd love to get your thoughts on that.
Absolutely.
Yes, selling your home can be a long, complicated process, but it doesn't have to be, especially when you work with Johnny Jennings and his amazing team at Made for More Realty. Listen to this. How about selling your home fast and for the most amount of money without doing any showings or organizing or costly repairs? That's right. He'll get you at least 3 cash offers on your home in as-is condition. And all you have to do is Google Johnny Jennings and his team at Made for More Realty and get more for your home, like so many people in the Roseville area have done. In fact, making Johnny Jennings the #1 team in Roseville for the past 3 years. Maybe that's why they have over 1,000 5-star Google reviews. Don't believe me? Go check them out for yourself. Again, just Google Johnny Jennings with Made for More Realty and get more for your home.